In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an AI-powered WhatsApp assistant that delivers content tailored to your niche. So no more generic AI responses. We're not just using ChatGPT. We're connecting WhatsApp to N8N and feeding it high-quality, trusted information from a Pinecone database. So what this means is the AI isn't just making things up. It's pulling from a curated knowledge base. So every response is relevant, accurate, and actually useful. So with this setup, you'll have an AI that truly understands your niche and can help generate precise content ideas for blog posts and scripts, social media posts, etc. The best part is it's easier than you think. So let's get started. Okay, before we build this automation, I just want to show you what it's capable of so you get an idea of what you're actually building. So I've got my WhatsApp up on my computer on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, there's an automation that we're going to build in N8N. I'll show you how to do all that in a moment. But first, I just want to show you what you can do. So if you want to come up with a new idea for a piece of content, whether it be a blog post, a social media post, or maybe a YouTube script, what we can do is we can have a conversation via WhatsApp, and this can be changed to Telegram or anything you like, but I've used WhatsApp in this example. We can have a conversation with an AI agent that then goes into a specific database which is knowledgeable about our stuff. So it's trained up on our business website, our content, everything to do with our brand. So this is the power of this. We've got a specific, niche-specific database that we build. So we're essentially creating an expert in the field. And then the AI can go and retrieve that information and come up with ideas for content for us automatically. So let me just show you how it works, and then I'm going to take you through step by step how to build it. So first of all, I'm just going to say, I want to create a video about high blood pressure. Let's say it's a video, I've got a heart disease YouTube channel that I do, so I'm just going to punch that in there. And you're going to see now that the message has come through to the agent. It's going into the database to get relevant research that it retrieves. Then it's going to come up with an idea by using the chat module here, and it's going to come back and send me the response. Okay, so we can see the responses come through. It's come up with 3 ideas for videos around the topic of high blood pressure. So I might just say to it, well, I like idea 1, but I want you to include a little bit more information around certain foods that would be bad for high blood pressure. So I'm going to click that as a response. That's going to trigger it to go back into the database again and look for more specific stuff so I can get the exact video outline that I'm looking for. So once it's retrieved more information around that, it's going to come back and present an idea to me because I said to give me an outline once you've added in this extra detail that I want. So here you can see it's come back with a video outline for me. So here's the outline. So if I'm happy so far with that outline, then I can now save that to an Airtable database automatically. If I'm not and I want to tweak it more, I can just keep having a conversation until I get exactly what I'm looking for in the piece of content that I want to create. So let's say that I'm happy with what I've got and I just want to automatically save this outline to an Airtable database. I can just instruct the AI agent to do that for me, saying store this article, store this in Airtable. So you can see now the agent's going again. It's going to automatically trigger over here this Airtable module, which you can see it doing now, which means it's taking this outline and putting it in Airtable for me automatically. Now it's telling me that it's done it. So if I go over to Airtable, you can see here is the outline that it's just created for me. So I can take this outline and then it could trigger automatically another writing automation that would take the outline and then automatically start writing section by section by section of that outline. So all of this can be completely automated and you can just have a conversation with your AI through WhatsApp or whatever method that you choose to have the conversation. So I'm going to show you how to build this out piece by piece in this video. So let's get into it. So the first thing you need to do is get an account over at N8N.com. So go to N8N. You're going to use just a cloud account. So you can just get a free account. So sign up for N8N. On the free account, you get a 14-day free trial. And then you just want to start over here on new workflow and then until you get to this screen here. Once you're in this screen here, then we can start building out all these modules and click together an automation. So this automation is going to be broken up into 3 parts. The first part, if you look down the bottom left-hand corner, this is where we're going to add content to our database. So I'm going to show you how to start building out this database, which is a Pinecone vector database. I'm going to explain what this is and why we're doing it, and then how to add content. That's part 1. Once we've successfully done that, which is not difficult, you don't need any coding experience to do any of this. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. And then the next part is we're going to create the WhatsApp account and then we're going to get the WhatsApp account to be able to communicate with our AI agent and then send us messages on the other side. There's a little bit of setup involved over at Facebook in order to do that because Facebook owns WhatsApp. Facebook can make things a little bit annoying and tricky, but I'm going to walk you through. I've been through the pain of figuring this out already so that you don't have to. So I'll take you through this step here. Once we've got this conversation set up here with WhatsApp, then we're going to move to the third phase of this, which is getting the AI agent to be able to retrieve information back out of the database that we set up over here. So these two steps here is a Pinecone database. This step is exactly the same database. It's just connected up to the agent. So they're the same database. So what we're going to do is get the AI agent to go into the database and retrieve relevant content out and then send us a message back. And then once we're happy with it, the last part over here, I guess you could say it's 4 stages, but this part's really quick and easy. We're just going to link up our Airtable database. Now you could link up a Google Sheets or whatever database you want to use, but I like to use Airtable. So I'll be showing you how to connect Airtable, which will automatically put the final piece of content in Airtable for us. So the beauty of this system is you can adapt it to whatever suits you. I'm going to show you in this video example how to create an outline for a YouTube video, but that's just one piece of content. You can adapt it. If you don't do YouTube, that's totally fine. You use it for social media posting. Now, the reason that we want to use Pinecone, just so you understand the power of this, is that when you build up your own niche-specific database, you've got a huge wealth of knowledge that's specific about your niche. And the more you build that up, the smarter and smarter the AI can become around your niche topic. So we can fill this up with any type of written content that we like. So we can get transcripts from YouTube videos, which we're going to do in a moment. We could scrape websites and blog posts. We could get our content from books or anywhere that we want to train this, to fill this Pinecone database with really high quality knowledge. So that's what we're going to do. And then when we retrieve it out of there, the content that we create, we know is going to be expert and really spot on content. So the first thing that we need to do in this section down here is we need to connect our Airtable. So I'm going to show you how to use Airtable. So you'll need an account over at Airtable. I believe you can just use a free account for this because it's quite a simple automation that we're doing here. It's not a difficult one. So go to Airtable, get a free account. What you want to do is create your first table, give it a name. And then inside of this, you click the plus button there and you just start from scratch there and create a new table within this. So I'm not going to do it again because I've already done it, but that's what you would do there. And then inside here, all you've got to do is actually, we're going to start one step back. We're going to start on this table here. Call it whatever you like. I'll just call this YouTube videos. I actually have the wrong naming there, but don't worry about that. You name it whatever you want. And you're going to have all you really need in here, to be honest. You actually don't even need video title. You could just leave that blank and have 2 columns. So what you're going to have in here is you're going to go edit this field. You're going to call it video URL. And from the drop down, choose URL. What you're going to put in here is the videos that you want to get the transcripts for. And then we're going to add these transcripts, which are over here, into our Pinecone database. Now, keep in mind, you can add, it doesn't have to be YouTube videos like I said earlier. This is just the source of the information that we want to get into Pinecone. So keep in mind that any of the automations that I'm teaching, adapt it to what works for you. Don't just think this is the only way to do this. So just for example purposes, though, I'm going to show you how to get a YouTube transcript into here. Now, I did another video how to automate this entire process on how to scrape YouTube videos and get their transcripts and using Airtable, so you don't have to do this manually. If you want to know how to do that, I encourage you to go back to my channel here. That first video that I did on AI viral video ideas, that's how I did it. If you watch that, it'll automate the entire scraping process of YouTube videos and getting the transcripts into Airtable for you. But just for example purposes, I'm just going to show you how to do one and get the transcript so you've got something to practice on when you're doing this automation. So you want to head over to a website called Appify. So it's just appify.com. This is a shopping site for scrapers for websites. So go to Appify and then search under actors. If you look for this, search for this one called YouTube Transcript Ninja. And all you have to do in here is put in a URL of a YouTube channel that you want to scrape. You can put bulk in as well. Then you just click start. And then it's going to scrape the transcript for you. And then what's going to come out the other end, if I just go to the previous runs that I've done, and you look in here, and I look at the output, you can see in here, here's one transcript from an example. I'll put it in preview. You can see here, and there's the transcript. So you can, for now, just for this automation, just copy and paste that into your Airtable. So you'll copy and paste that into Airtable here. Obviously, you want to automate this process. And again, just go back to that other video that I've done, and I show you exactly how to automate this entire process step by step. So now at this stage, you've got video URLs and you've got all these transcripts. So what we want to do is get these transcripts into our Pinecone database. We're going to head back to N8N to do this. So if we're back over at N8N, what we need to do is create this Airtable module, which is a search record module. So to add a module on N8N, just click the plus button over on the right, or you can use your mouse to do it. Sometimes I find it's a bit clunky doing that, but if you just go over to the right here and go Airtable, so click plus, and what we're looking for is a search records module. So make sure you click search records. Once you've got that, open it up, and I'll just show you how to make sure the settings are correct in here. You will have to connect your Airtable account with N8N. So in order to do that, if you just click the pencil button there, it's going to take you through, and it's going to it'll walk you through these here on these documents. So if I click open document here, if you haven't done this before, just quickly read through this. It's not difficult. It'll show you where to get what you need and come back with the credentials in order to connect this. So once you've got your client ID and your secret, just click connect. You need to do that step. Once you've done that, what you want to do in the source module here is click record. And then the operation is search. Make sure you have that at search, okay? And then the base in the table, this is just the base that you created at Airtable and then the table within inside that. So if we go back to Airtable, the base is this one up here, and then the table is like the sub node here, the table itself with the content. So make sure you select the table that's got the transcripts on it. That's the one you're looking for. That's going to be from the list here. Okay, so that's all you need to do in this step actually. So if we click out of that now, if you click play down here, we can click this play button. You can see now N8N is going to Airtable and it's retrieving these 9 items. So you can see if I open that up, here are the items on the right-hand side. So it's gone and found all those transcripts here for me. So that worked. So the first step is just to retrieve that content out of Airtable. Now we want to add it to a Pinecone database. So the next module you need to add on here is called Pinecone Vector Store. So click on the right and just go Pinecone Vector Store and look for the one there, Pinecone Vector Store. So for this, you're going to need an account at Pinecone. And again, you can get a free account at Pinecone. But I'm going to go over to Pinecone now and show you what this looks like, because you need to get an API key at Pinecone. Okay, so over at Pinecone, it's just pinecone.io is the website. You go in to get a login, get started, and then you want to go over here and create an index, and then we're going to get an API key. Okay, so first thing you do is go create index, give it a name that you recognize, and then make sure the setting over here under configuration is set to text embedding 3 small is what we're using. And that's all you need to do, and click create. Once you've created your index, this is really just, the index is a library where you're putting the information. So you can have lots of different libraries inside of Pinecone. So what you want to do after you've set that up and you've got your index, you just want to get your API key. So click on API key there and create an API key and then save it. And then we're going to head back to N8N and connect our Pinecone to our N8N account. Okay, so back at N8N, you want to click on the credentials and you're going to have to add new credentials. So add your new credentials. Then all you do in there is just put in the API key that you got there. So paste in your API key and click save. Okay, in the operation mode, you want to choose insert documents. And then from the list here, this is, if you choose it, there'll be a drop down. This is where all your indexes are. So if you've got more than one index, just make sure you choose the right one that you created. So from that drop down, choose the index. And that's all you need to do in this setup. So I'm just going to hop out of there. So now that we've got our Airtable set up, we've got the Pinecone database there, there's a couple of other steps that we need to do before we can start adding these documents into Pinecone. So the next step you want to add in is called this default data loader. So just go again and look up on the side here, default data loader. So if I put default data loader, grab that module, and here, I'll click through and here. You want to set this to type JSON and then load specific data from the mode. Okay, and then in the data field here that we're loading, this is where we can map in this transcript. So once you'd run that previous module and Airtable had got the transcripts, you can now see it's mappable over here. So if you make sure that the setting at the top is set to schema. And then once it's at schema, you see these are now drag and droppable. You want to drop that straight into that data field. So all we're doing here is just saying, it's this content here. That's the data that we want to add to Pinecone. So you just drag and drop that in and it will turn that into a code like that. Make sure on the right-hand side, you've got this set to expression and not fixed. So you need to set that to expression in order to drag and drop modules like that. The other thing we can do under metadata, we can add a metadata field here and we can call it ID. And then we can drag and drop this ID like that into there. So that's just tagging the data. When we add it to our Pinecone database, we're just tagging it with an ID. So once you've done that, that's all you need to do in this one here, and we can get out of this. Then we're going to add another module called a character text splitter. So just look up character text splitter. Then we're going to open that up. All this is saying is this huge document, which is a transcript, these can be quite large. We're just saying break it up into chunks and then overlap those chunks by 50 characters. So I've put 1,000 characters. This is probably a little bit too small. Probably put more like 5,000. And the overlap could be 50. That's fine. So what this is saying is break up my massive document into chunks of 5,000 characters and insert them in smaller chunks into Pinecone and overlap those chunks by 50 word characters. The overlapping is just a way to link or semantically link the pieces of content together. It's like a link when you're layering them into Pinecone. So it tells Pinecone that this content is related. It's like they're cousins. They came from the original same document. So when Pinecone goes back to retrieve information, it's going to look for relationships between content. And the reason we want to break it up like this is it allows when we retrieve out of Pinecone to get more specific information. So think of it like if you're doing a project, instead of reading a whole encyclopedia, which I know nobody does anymore. You don't need the entire encyclopedia to do your project. You might only need a really small chapter inside of that encyclopedia, or even a couple of paragraphs inside that chapter. You don't need the whole lot. So there's no point in retrieving the whole lot back out. So that's why we put things in chunks into Pinecone, so we can get specific information out later. So now that you've done that, there's one more module we need to add on here, which is called the Embeddings OpenAI. So just go to the modules and look for Embeddings OpenAI, like I've got here, okay? All you have to do here is you need to connect your OpenAI account. So you'll need another account here to authenticate and connect. Now I'm going to show you how to do that now. So you want to head over to OpenAI. So you go to the URL of platform.openai.com, set up an account here. And once you've got your account set up, go into billing, and you need to add a little bit of money to your account. Like just $5 credit is all you need. And in order to use the API access that OpenAI gives you to use ChatGPT in automation modules like in make.com or an N8N, you need to have access to an API for it to work. So set up an account, add $5, and then come and get your API key. So just go up on the menu on the left here, and then get API keys, grab your API key because you're going to need it. So that's all you need to do once you've got this stage set up. So now that we've done that, we'll head back over to N8N and we're going to connect our OpenAI module. Okay, now back at N8N, so the chat embeddings module that we're connecting, if you just click on that there, and the credentials at the top, you're going to need to click that pencil button there, and then this is where you're going to put your API key in here. So just fill in the information here that you need. You also need your organizational. Oh no, that's optional. You don't need that, but you may, I can't remember when I connected if I needed that base URL. I think you possibly do. Just copy that just in case. I just can't remember when I actually set that up. I think you do, but you don't need the organization ID, but you do need your API key. So have that all set in there and then click save, and that will connect for you. So once we've done that, now we can actually test this module. So what we're going to do is click this little play button again here and get these documents from Airtable so that we've got records that we can then put into Pinecone. So now there's 9 records in here that have been pulled from Airtable. So now we can test Pinecone. All we do is simply click play there on the Pinecone side. And now it's retrieving and adding all that information to the Pinecone database. Okay, so it's finished adding all of the pieces of content to that. Now, you can periodically just keep adding more and more content to your Pinecone database. When you do that over time, though, you probably want to start adding in a filter step here so you don't add duplicate content that you've already added by accident, because you don't want to have a whole lot of duplicate stuff in your Pinecone database. But you can just keep this sitting here and just keep re-adding whenever you want to add new stuff. Just pull the fresh stuff from your Airtable and then just click add, and it will just add it to Pinecone. So that can sit there and just keep being reused again and again as you build up your Pinecone database. So we finished the first part of our automation. Now we have a Pinecone database and we have a way to add information to it. So what we're going to do is now we're going to move up and work on this part here, which is the WhatsApp account. Now, I'll just let you know that Facebook do make things a little bit tricky, but if you can push through and get past some of the annoying parts of Facebook, using WhatsApp's really powerful, and you can use it in a lot of other ways with automations, especially if you're into selling automations to other clients or even with marketing. You can do a lot with marketing, like with using WhatsApp to customers or clients. It's a really powerful tool. It's a shame that it's owned by Facebook because they are so annoying, but it is what it is. So I'm going to show you how to do it though, to remove the pain that I went through in setting this up so that you don't have to. But anyway, let's get into it. So what we need to do is first just create a module over here, which is a trigger module of our WhatsApp. So we're going to go over to the right for WhatsApp, and you're going to look for WhatsApp Business Cloud. So click that. And then if you go down to triggers down below here, let's move that out of the way. You're looking for the trigger that says on messages. So you need that on messages trigger. So add that. I'll just X that out of the way. Once you've got this connected, I'll open it up. Here is where we need to add the authentication. So if you click in here, you can see I'm going to blur stuff out for my privacy. You're going to see a client ID and a client secret. So here's where we need to stop, and we need to go over to Facebook, and we need to set up an account. So you need to use your normal Facebook login. If you don't have a Facebook account, you need to at least have that. And then you need to set up a business account at Facebook in order to use WhatsApp. So I'm going to head over and show you now how to do the WhatsApp part of this. Okay, so once you have logged into to Facebook rather, you need to then go to business.facebook.com and you need to create a business. Okay, so I'm just going to do a dummy one here. So I'm just going to do test. I did one before, but I'll do test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Didn't like the name that I put in, so I'm just going to put N8N testing biz. Let's see if it'll let me do that. Okay, so now you need to wait for it to process. Once you've added your business and successfully verified your email, you then need to make sure you add a system user. So once you're logged into business.facebook.com, you need to go to users, and you need to go to system user. And you need to make sure that you're added as a system user yourself, as an admin, so that you've got control over this Facebook business account. If you don't do this and don't add yourself as a system user, you won't be able to do anything in your Facebook business account. So make sure you do that step and add yourself and give full permissions to everything for yourself to do. Once you've done that, you need to go to apps. And then you need to create an app. So we're going to go add an app here, and you're going to create a new app. And now you'll notice it's going to take us out of business.facebook over to developers.facebook.com. This is where it can start to get a little bit confusing with Facebook because they have two different websites that you do stuff on. There's developers.facebook.com and there's business.facebook.com, and we need to get information from both. So you're kind of going in between two, and what happens is people can get really confused about where they are when they're trying to navigate through the Facebook nightmare that they've created. But anyway, let's just keep going. So here you're going to give the app a name. So I'm going to go N8N test 12, that'll do, and give it put your email in. And I'm going to go next. And then in the use cases here, just click other, and then go next. And then just go business is the next choice here, and go next. Okay, and then you're going to go create app. So I'm not going to create it because I've actually already got an app created, quite a few of them. Make sure, actually, before you click create app, make sure the business portfolio, the business that you just created, is selected here as attached to that app. That's really important because you want your business portfolio attached to this app, because you have to remember the app is created in the developer site, whereas the business and the users were created on the business site. So this is where you need to link the two together, and this is where Facebook are really difficult to work with. Anyway, let's move on. So once you've done that step, you're going to end up on this screen here, which is the products that you need to add to that app. So this can sound a little bit confusing. We're adding apps, but that's just the way Facebook uses their language. So you want to, over here, you want to add WhatsApp. So you want to go to setup here and add WhatsApp. Okay, so once you've got to this stage, just so we stop so you don't get confused, because I'm warning you, it does get confusing in here. On the left-hand side, you've got WhatsApp. You've got an API setup. Remember this menu over here, API setup. You're going to need to come back in here, okay? Take a screenshot of your own account if you need to. But up above, you'll notice there's another setting here called app settings, okay? These two settings you need to remember, okay? Because these are what you need in WhatsApp. You need to get credentials from both these places. So the first place we're going to get the credentials from is called app settings. The second place is down here called this API setup. So yes, Facebook has two different credentials to receive and send messages. So this is another classic example of why Facebook developers are like the craziest I've ever come across with any application. They make it the most confusing, but I don't want to rant on anymore. But you want to come in here and go to basic. Okay, and in here, this is where you're going to find your app ID and your app secret, okay? This is what you need now to continue with this automation. So copy these, and we're going to go back to N8N, and then we're going to come back here in a moment and finish off more settings that we need in order for this to work. So back at N8N, just click on there, that pencil button there, and in here, where they call it client ID and client secret, it's actually app ID and app secret. So again, this is just a little bit confusing because N8N is now not used the same language as Facebook. So N8N's jumping in on the party to cause confusion, but that's okay. We can get through it. So just click your credentials in there and click retry, and it should connect and give you a big green. So you'll feel good dopamine hit there when that goes green. So now that you've got that connected like that, okay, we can hop out of here. Technically, at this point, you're ready to receive messages. You just can't send any messages, but you can receive them. So what you want to do at this point is you can just do a test. So I could unlink that there, and I could just do a quick test like that by clicking play. Okay, so if I was to do that and send a message to myself now with my WhatsApp account, you can see that message just came through. So if I open it up now, I just said test. So you can see down there, it says test. Okay. So that's just showing that this part is now connected. So obviously we're going to now build out the rest of this part. But before I do that, I'll just reconnect this to the AI agent, and I'll kind of come back in a moment. But now what we want to do, there's a couple other settings at Facebook that we need to do in order to get the receiving messages on this side sorted out. So let's add this module and get the credentials for this, and then we'll connect it all up. So over on this side, it's not a trigger event here, it's a message send. So if you go over here to WhatsApp again, WhatsApp Business Cloud here, and you want to look for send message. So we're sending a message this time. That's the module here. Okay, so in here, what you need to do is connect the credentials up the top here. I'm going to go and get those for you in a second. So just while we're on the screen, we might as well just look at what other options that we have to set up. I'm going to have to blur out a couple of things. But you want to have resource set to message, operation to send. And then the send phone number, this is the phone number that you get from your WhatsApp account over at Facebook. So Facebook will give you a test WhatsApp account number that you can use. If you want to add in your own number, you can go through that process. I'm not going to take you through in this video how to add your own number to your WhatsApp account. That's a whole other process. But for now, you can just use the test account number. So the sending number is WhatsApp's test account they give you in your WhatsApp account. And the recipient phone number is just your own phone number now for testing purposes. And in the text body down below, put message type set to text. And then all you need to do down here, because I haven't connected it, it's not mappable at this point. But if you just do exactly what I've put here and set this to expression, and then just put squiggly brackets and then copy that code exactly. We can map it later if you want to, but while you're in here, you might as well just, it's such a simple little strip of code. If you just put that exactly like what I've got, it'll work, and just click save. So let's get these credentials now from Facebook. So back at developers.facebook.com, so just remember that we're at the subdomain of developers. We want to go down here to WhatsApp, and then we're going to go to API setup. And now when we're in API setup, we can generate a token, access token. This is what you're going to need, that access token. And this is also where you find your WhatsApp business account ID. So WhatsApp is that, just copy that WhatsApp business account ID and that access token. And then in the drop-down menu, this is where you get a phone number. This is where you can see the test phone number that they're going to give you. Okay, so this is where you can set that up. Okay, so get all the details out of here. And then we're going to go back to N8N and we're going to add them. So back at N8N, go to the pencil icon here. Okay, and this is where you put access token and business account ID. Then you're going to click connect, and hopefully you're going to get a big dopamine hit when that turns green. It's always nice. And then you are connected now. So your WhatsApp should be connected. I'm just going to take you through one more step back of Facebook to make sure that you've got all the permissions as the user operating this WhatsApp account so you don't get any errors, because I had a little bit of a challenge. Then I discovered one other setting that I needed to connect up. So let's do that now. Okay, so back over at business.facebook.com. So again, we're not in developers.facebook, we're in business. You need to go over to system users under the users menu here, okay? You would have added yourself as a user, but what you have to do is make sure your assigned assets here, you've got to make sure you have got the app that you created assigned to you. If it's not showing up down here, you've got to assign yourself again to make sure it shows up here. So once that app is showing up here as one of your assets, then you can operate this app, which means you can operate the WhatsApp account. Now, you will need to go through and generate yourself a token. So you click Generate Token here. Once you're in here, you want to select the app that you've created. So I'm going to select that app. I'm going to go Next, click Never to expire, then Next. And then I haven't got the permission set up. Okay, let me go back and use one that I already did properly. Hit Never. Okay, and here the permissions is what you need to set up. So you need to make sure that you scroll down and have WhatsApp Business Manager and Messenger set up. And also while you're in here, just choose Business Management like that. Make sure you add those. If you don't add those and then just click Generate Token and Done, then you won't be able to operate the WhatsApp account. And you're going to get really frustrated like I did, trying to figure out why won't this work? But that was the step that you need to take. So at this point, we've now done the second part of this automation. We can now speak to the AI and the AI can speak back to us and we can have a conversation with the AI agent using WhatsApp. So now what we need to do is this next part of the automation, which is training the AI how to retrieve information from Pinecone. So the way that these AI agents work in N8N is we have to give them instructions. So we attach tools to them. So from the tools menu, we attach these tools, but we have to tell them these are the tools that you have at your disposal. But we have to explain to them inside this AI agent using prompting what these tools are and why they would want to use them and sort of when they would want to use them. So once we do that, the agent knows, oh, okay, you've asked me to do some sort of task. It's clear to me this is the tool and this is the tool that I'm going to do to execute that task for you. So the way we do that is we go into the AI agent here. Okay, in the AI agent, the setup that you need to do is I'm just going to make sure I told you how to do this AI agent. So let's just go over to the right here and go Advanced AI. Okay, and then you want to click AI agent and add that module. So add that module like that, connect it to WhatsApp and connect it to your message send WhatsApp. Then you should have this stage set up. Once you've got that, click into it. And then you want to, the agent is a tools agent. That's the one you're choosing from the drop down. And the source for prompt is defined below. Okay, we're gonna add in the prompting down below here, which I'm going to get to in a second. And then the text field input here, make sure you change that to expression. Okay, then you just want to drag in the text here, which is this one here of the body. So just drag that in there like that. I'm not going to put it in there twice, but if you just drag and drop it like that, as long as you've got it set to expression on the right, you can just drag and drop. So that's the text. So it's saying this is the message that's coming into you from WhatsApp. So you need to drag and drop that in there. And then here we're going to set up simple prompting. Now, if you want to make a more complex AI agent, you can put a large amount of prompting in here. You can add as many tools as you like, as long as you tell the AI agent what those tools are and when they would use them so it understands it. It's like training somebody if they're learning to build a house. They need to learn to use a hammer and nails and saws, right? So you have to explain to them, if you're teaching somebody to do that, here's what this tool does and when you would use it. So if you look what I've got in here, I've just said system prompt for video ideas management agent. Now this is just an example for creating video ideas. Obviously this can be used for anything. Then I've given it an overview. Then I've said you assist in brainstorming and coming up with new ideas for YouTube videos. Again, adapt it to whatever you want. And then I've said here in this section, tools and their functions. Then I've defined what the tools are. So number one, the tool is get source research. So this is where I tell it to go to Pinecone and get information that I need. So the purpose of the tool, retrieve stored content from the Pinecone database and then create 3 ideas for a potential YouTube video that addresses the query from WhatsApp from the user, and the ideas are based on relevant research from Pinecone. And then it's saying, oh, okay, great. I know what the tool does. Well, when would I use this? Well, you tell the usage is when a user requests to come up with new YouTube video ideas related to a root topic, look up the database for the most relevant research related to the query, return 3 ideas from YouTube for new YouTube videos. If the user requests further refinement of one of these ideas, then go back to the database and find more relevant research that relates to that, what the user requested, and present one more improved video. So this is where you tell it how to operate and what tool to do it with. After we've put that into the system, we want to add another tool as well. We might as well look at this while we're in here. As the next tool is called Add to Database. And this purpose is add new content to Airtable database. And the usage is when a user requests a video idea to be stored in the Airtable database, and then it's going to say, trigger this tool anytime a user says something like store this idea. And then it will say, insert the provided idea into this. And the required fields in the database that it needs to insert are video title, video_title, and video_research. So it's saying when you're told to store this in Airtable, you need to put 2 entries, video title and video research. So it knows to create those fields because those are the mappable fields over at Airtable. So this is where we give it its 2 prompts. Obviously, this is a very simple example with just 2 prompts. You can add more and more and more, but I think you get the idea. So that's all you need to do when you're in here setting up this AI agent. So now that you've got the agent set up, there's a couple of other things we need to do to make sure the agent can actually work properly. So we need to add a chat module here. This is like adding a brain to the agent, okay? This is using AI, so it's like a brain that it can come to. So what you do is you add an OpenAI chat module. So just go to the right and click OpenAI here. So add in messenger model, and then click out of there, and that's going to connect. And you make sure you connect it off this leg here, this branch here of the chat module that it's looking for. So in here, you need to connect your OpenAI account like we did before, and then choose the model of, I've just got GP4 connected. That's all you need to do in that. Hop out of there. Now we need to add another module called a window buffer memory. So just grab from the menu here, window buffer memory. So if you just go window buffer memory, add that in there. Now this is adding memory to the model so it can remember the conversation that we're having on WhatsApp back and forwards, because we needed to give it context. If we're having a conversation back and forwards and it has no clue what the prior message was, it's not going to be a very good conversation and it's not going to do a very good job for us. So we can add in here window buffer memory in the key. So we're going to put here from the drop down, define below, and in the key, if you just put exactly how I've got it in here, we can't map it yet because I haven't run that module. But if we just hop back actually, and we can just run this module here. And then if we hop into window buffer memory, now we can map it. So you can see here it's mappable. So in the key here, the field that you're looking for is we need to give it the contact that and the WhatsApp number that it was messaging from, so it knows what message to get. So what you want to make sure is that it's set to mapping at the top. I just had to pause the video because I had it set to debugging and I wasn't able to map. But if you set up to the top, make sure it's set to schema and then mapping. And then you want to drag into this key here. If you go down and look under messages into the body down here, you can drop this in, and this will give the window buffer memory the context of the conversation that's going on. So if you click save out of that, now the window buffer memory is set, the brain is set up, WhatsApp is set up. So now that we've got the agent set up, we need to train the agent on how to use these other tools that we set up. Once we've done that, then the agent is really good to go and we're finished with this automation. So the next thing we need to do here is we're going to add in here off the tools thing, a get source research. So just look up get source research, a module, and then you want to name it. And then you can just put the limit to, you can just leave it to 4 and just click out of that. You don't need to do any more setup on that. Then the next module coming off that is looking for a vector store module. So look up on the right, vector store module. So again, just like you did before, just go Pinecone. And then we're looking for the vector store module. So you just add that on. And here you're going to add and connect your same credentials that you did on the first step when you set up Pinecone. So do exactly the same thing. Make sure you've got all the settings the same. And then we're going to add an embeddings model down here. So exactly what we did over here was doing the same thing here. Okay, so just click into that and make sure it's embeddings text 3 small. Make sure you don't make any mistakes with this setup. This is a pretty straightforward setup. And then over on here, we're going to add in here an OpenAI chat model. So again, it's just exactly what we've done before, ChatGPT-4, connect your credentials. So all these steps we'd previously done already. This is just duplicating stuff. So we went through this pretty quickly, but let me just explain what's actually going on in this step. Once this is set up like this, now, because we've already set up a prompt where we told the AI agent get source research, it knows that to dive down this path when it needs to retrieve information from our database. So just to recap, if you go back into the system prompt, you'll remember here that we set up a tool and we called it get source research. Well, now it knows where to go because that's called get source research. So it knows to go down this path. Okay, so the other tool that we set up was called add to database. So if you look back in here, if we go back down below, down here to the tools, we called it add to database. If we hop back out here, that's why we called this module add to database. So the last module that we need to do is this one here. So you're going to click and add an Airtable module, just like you did over here, but instead of a search record, now you're adding a create record. So once you've added it, open it up, go through the credentials connection again, and then the tool description, you can just leave that set automatically. Resources record, and the operation is create. And here you need to pick the right table and base. This time the table that you're connecting to is not the one that you had originally when you're adding to Pinecone. This is where you want to put the finished ideas. So that's the separate table that we originally did at the beginning of this video. So remember at the beginning we had this table and we had this table. So there's two tables. So it's this table here where we're going to put our finished ideas that come out of the AI. So back in there, make sure that's all connected correctly. And there's one really important point that we need to look at below. So you want to have here this mapping columns mode set to map each column manually, okay? And then the values to send. This is where I really want you to pay close attention here. What we want to do here is we want to tell the AI to create these values for us, and then to add those to, so that it knows to add them to Airtable in the exact format that we need. So in order to do that, you want to add these two fields down below called video name and video research, okay? And in the formula field, if you just click to keep it on expression, and then you can just type this out because it's really pretty straightforward, but you want to just type it out exactly as I have on the screen. So you've got in squiggly brackets, $ from AI, close the brackets, and then in quotes, video underscore name, close quote, close bracket, close squiggly bracket, and then copy and paste that below, but just change video name for video research. So what this is doing is it's saying, it tells the AI when you've gone through this process and you've finally created an output to go to Airtable because you were instructed to save this to Airtable, you need to create the name of the video and the research so that when we map it into Airtable over here, you know where to map it. You need to, because it's going to map exactly to these tables. So it will automatically do that for you, as you saw in the beginning of this video when I did the example. So once you've got those set up, that's all you need to do. Click out of that. Now make sure you save the whole thing. And congratulations, you have now set up your first AI agent. So this is the full automation. So what you can do is test each part of the workflow, or you can just come up here and turn the whole thing on and start having a conversation with it. So the power of this system is when you build this database, the more content you feed this database, and high quality content too, the better the results will be when the AI is queried to retrieve content back. And just remember, you can build out lots of other modules on from this, or you can even connect this to another automation, writing automations like make.com. I find make.com better for writing automation. So you can do it. You could take your information once you've stored it in Airtable and trigger off another automation that starts writing and creating. So there's a lot you can do with it. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a comment below and thumbs up and subscribe. And I've got plenty of great automation videos coming out in the future. So I'll see you in the next video.